I did Don't Panic, Investing during the 2020 pandemic, part 1. This current video that you're watching right now is the part 2 of this video. So if you haven't seen the first one, the link will be popping up right now. Check that video out first. This is a continuation of the video. So this is part 2 that you're watching right now. All these different corporate bonds, and they're also opening up different facilities, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But their balance sheet is going up, and it looks like it's going up. They are thinking about taking it to maybe another like $7 to $8 trillion on the Federal Reserve balance sheet. So that's something to watch out for. So earlier on during the week, the Fed chair, which is like like I said, the Federal Reserve governor, Jerome Powell, like they had every couple of weeks, they basically have to have four meetings. They have to have a couple of meetings a year when they discuss the U.S. monetary policy. So after this week's monetary policies briefing, they would have a news media conference, right? And here is basically what they're doing now. Everything is basically online. These are all reporters from different financial news media, and this lady, she's asking the Fed a question right now pertaining to what I just touched on. Let's listen.
Tina Smialik.
Hi, Chair Powell. Thanks for taking our questions. You guys have cut rates to zero. You're buying up huge quantities of government debt. I guess the question is, what more can you realistically...
Really quickly, she just basically asked the Fed, you've cut rate to zero. They're buying huge quantities of government debt. That's what I was talking about. When the Treasury issues bonds, that the Federal Reserve buys it, and she just basically asked the Federal Reserve Governor, Jerome Powell, what his thinking process is about buying this huge government debt.
...do to help the economy, and where do you see a need for Congress to step in?
So let me say that we're committed to using our full range of tools to support the economy in this challenging time. We're going to use them, as I mentioned, forcefully, proactively, and aggressively until we're confident that we're solidly on the road to recovery. And also to assure that recovery, when it comes, will be as robust as possible. And I would just say we have a number of dimensions on which we can still provide support to the economy. As you know, our credit policies are not subject to a specific dollar limit. They can be expanded as appropriate, and we can do new ones. So we can continue to be part of the answer. Will there be a need to do more, though? I think the answer to that will be yes. I would say Congress has also reacted quite aggressively and strongly with the CARES Act and other laws, several other laws, and that's appropriate with enhanced unemployment insurance and the Paycheck Protection.
The enhanced unemployment insurance simply means the extra $600 that you getting in your unemployment check, if you're lucky enough to get unemployment right now.
Program, we've seen an extraordinary, historically large reaction. But I would say that it may well be the case that the economy will need more support from all of us.
So the Federal Reserve Chair thinks the economy will still need more stimulus. So hopefully the people on the other side of running the government, the Congress, the executive, which is the president, hopefully they all agree to give us more money. So that's that. I'm gonna show you another couple. I'm gonna leave this particular video. I highly recommend you watch this video and you just trying to make as much sense of it as possible. All these reporters, they all touch on different points, and the video, as you can see, is 49 minutes long. I think it's worth every single minute for you to see and understand what the guy the guy with the money printer that prints dollars for you to see what he thinks about the economy and all these things moving forward. Next reporter, which is this guy, the next reporter, he just basically is going to ask the Federal Reserve question about support for businesses, right? Because the government are supporting small businesses and all those things. They're supporting individuals. So he's asking a question about the PPP program, the EIDL, and what the Fed is also doing to support businesses, right? So that's what he's going to be asking the Fed right now.
Thanks, Chair Powell. You didn't firm up your guidance on, this is James Blady from the Financial Times, you didn't firm up your guidance on interest rates at this meeting. And given the risks that you just outlined, under what circumstances would you strengthen the Fed's commitment to keep rates at the lower?
Okay, I'm sorry about that. He's talking about interest rate, right? Interest rate. If you don't know, the Federal Reserve is also in charge of the interest rate. I'm going to do an educational video on interest rate in the future. But the Federal Reserve is in charge of the U.S. in determining the interest rate. And right now, the interest rate is basically a low percentage. So if you're a saver right now and you're trying to save money, unfortunately, you're not going to get the better side of the stick, because most banks are not offering much of an interest. Some banks are offering pretty good interest, but most are not really offering much of an interest right now. So let's get into what the Fed has to say.
We're bound, and is there any danger to delaying that pledge? And on the credit facilities, what kind of demand are you expecting for the programs that were set up under the CARES Act? And
so the credit facilities, so I was right the first time. The credit facility that he's talking about is just the PPP program, the EIDL, and all these government programs that they have set up for businesses.
And are you expecting them to rapidly reach capacity like the PPP plan did?
Okay, so on the first, as I mentioned, we moved very quickly, very aggressively. We were the first to return to the effective lower bound where we are now. We got there essentially right.
Effective lower bounds. Look, listen. The Federal Reserve and just the financial world in general, they like to use fancy words. Fancy big English, fancy big words that most people won't understand. Effective lower bound simply means lower interest rate. I don't know why I couldn't just say lower interest rate, but he decided to use effective lower bound. As if your regular folks, people would know what effective lower bounds means. It simply means lower interest rate.
Away, and we think that's the right place to be. We think if you look at surveys, you look at market pricing, the market expects us to be there for a good while, and that's appropriate. So, it's not as though the market is pricing in a near-term lift-off or anything like that. And let me just say, we're not be in any hurry to withdraw these measures or to lift off. We're going to.
Okay, so let me just kind of break down the jargon over there. He just said, we're not going to be in a hurry to stop the money printer. Basically, that's what he's saying. We're not going to be in a hurry to stop the money printer. And if you've noticed, the stock market so far this week has been on a roller coaster, right? Some of the stuff that he's saying has been part of the reason why. What he's trying to say here is, we are going to keep on with our monetary policy, and we're going to keep the money printer going for the foreseeable future until the pandemic goes down and the U.S. economy start going up. So interest rate would be really low for a long time.
Wait until we're quite confident that the economy is well on the road to recovery. So we see our current stance and our current guidance, and I would say the same thing about asset purchases. We see them as appropriate. I've also mentioned now a couple times that we have done a lot of thinking about what monetary policy might look like over coming months, and that would depend on where we are in a range of potential economic scenarios. So we were thinking about that all the time, but right now, for now, we think our current stance is appropriate, so we made no change in it today.
a really interesting section of this meeting, and this just takes my point home right here. A reporter is going to ask this question right now.
Very big concern.
Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria Guido with Politico. The Paycheck Protection Program has experienced some logistical problems because of the speed.
So the Paycheck Protection Program is simply part of the CARES Act. It's part of the package, the stimulus check package that everybody is getting. The $1,200 is part of that package, and the Paycheck Protection, they have a section of the CARES Act, which is called the PPP. That's when, if you're an independent contractor, if you are an independent contractor, if you are a self-employed person, if you have a business, you could apply for a forgivable loan from the government. It's a forgivable loan if you are a photographer, a videographer. As long as you have a small business, right, you can apply for a forgivable loan of 2.5 times your monthly income. So if last year you made $5,000, well, you're gonna get almost $12,500 in the PPP loan. Now that she's asking questions about it, right? So hear the questions closely and listen to the Fed chair, his response to it.
At which all of this is happening. For the Main Street lending facility, which will also work through banks, what lessons are you taking?
Main Street lending facility that she's talking about here is the Federal Reserve is creating another lending facilities, which is just to say that the Federal Reserve is basically going to act like a bank, an unlimited bank that basically just gives you money, right? But it's a loan, right? Let me get to the video.
Taking away from that. And then more broadly, you mentioned earlier this year that the federal debt was on an unsustainable path. And I was just wondering, for Republicans that are starting to get worried about how much fiscal spending they're having to do in this crisis, whether that should be a concern for them.
So a couple of things. This is different from the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, in two ways. One is these are not grants; these are loans. So I don't know that the demand will be quite as strong as it has been for the PPP. I don't know that, but
so the Fed is making that point, saying this is just these are loans. Like, it's not going to be forgivable like the PPP. The PPP program, if you spend the money a certain way, I spend, I think 70% of it on payroll, and the rest you spend it on bills. For the bills that you could spend it on are listed on as part of the loan. So that's what he's mentioning. If you spend it a certain way, you will get you don't have to pay it back. But what the Fed is doing, it's a loan. You're gonna have to pay it back. They're basically creating unlimited money for people to borrow from, people and corporations.
And the second thing is we won't run out of money. We won't run out of money.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? The Federal Reserve, they're saying it. They're not going to run out of money. How can they run out of money? This is the guy that prints the money. It prints the money. He's the one that says 10 billion, Fed, 250 billion to the Treasury, 7 billion to the bank. He just puts it in the computer, and the money comes out. Okay, he's saying we're not going to run out of money.
It's not a limited pot, so there won't be this incentive to try to get there first and that sort of thing. So I'm hopeful we will very much try to learn as much as possible from that facility and from all the other ones too. We have a lot to learn here, so we'll certainly.
So yeah, so that's that. Let me not make this section too long. He's basically saying the Federal Reserve is not going to run out of money, so they're going to create another facility, another way that people can borrow money directly from the Federal Reserve. It's going to be through the banks, but the money is guaranteed by the Federal Reserve. So basically, money from the government, but it's a loan. It's a loan, probably going to be a low interest loan because interest rate is so low. So if you can borrow money at let's say 1%, the interest rate is below 1% right now. If the Fed come and say, hey, they're gonna give you a loan at 50 basis points, which basically means like 50.5%, which basically means 0.5%. If you now take that loan that you borrowed below 1% and you can put it in other places that you can be making 4 to 6% per year until you pay off the loan, and that's a good deal. That's a good deal. That is a good deal. The other big news of the week, the other person that has been extremely frustrated with the lockdown, just like everybody else, has been Elon Musk, and he basically dropped a bombshell on Tesla's earnings call. Just listen.
Breaking people's freedoms in ways that are hard-looking and wrong, and that black people came to America will build this country.
Yeah, let that take a little time to sink in, right? This is one of the reasons why I personally like him. I look up to this guy. I think he's one of the single most important person that the world, not even the United States, the world as a person, the world as a whole, actually really needs right now, because his visions for the world are quite amazing. And I love the fact that he acts like a regular person. He's not like your everyday CEO that they have to be using all this like crazy terms that people wouldn't understand, although they're on a public conference call that half of the country don't understand or anything like that. He is himself. You either take him as it is, or just don't be a part of all the stuff that he's up to. And he's extremely frustrated about this whole lockdown, that this is unconstitutional, this is fascist, that you know, people are basically being forced to be in prison at home. Well, my opinion on that is like, I understand his frustration, and I understand what he's trying to put out there and everything, but at the same time, if this is a serious thing, this is a serious pandemic. Obviously, it's not if, it is a serious pandemic, and people are dying, people are losing their lives and stuff like that. So all the measures that have been in place is basically to protect people and to protect people's lives and livelihood and stuff like that. Protect people's lives basically. But at the same time, the way that the government are going on about it is just really horrible, man. The government, they've messed up the payment to the people. They haven't canceled rent for people. They haven't canceled mortgages. How can you expect people to stay home for 2 months and at an unemployment rate of over 6 million people? Over 6 million people are unemployed. They still have to pay the rent. They still have to pay mortgages. They still have to pay all their bills, and they're not working for 2 months. That is horrible, absolutely horrible, and it's just crazy. This was basically after Tesla had a huge earnings. The street were not expecting the amount of numbers that it put out, and the stock jumped up by $80. $80. I can imagine people that had a swing trade on this. Oh my God, they would have made a ton of money. So $80 is it's a lot of money. Let's hear what this news anchor had to say for a second.
Alert on Tesla. The stock is surging, hitting after-hours highs after reporting a surprise profit for the quarter. Phil LeBeau's got all the details. Phil, what a big move.
It is a nice move, Melissa, and when you look at the earnings report, remember the expectation, and they're all over the place with Tesla. It's still not one of those stocks you look at and say, yeah, this is pretty much what people are expecting. People were expecting them to lose 36 cents a share.
First of all, let me tell you, for some reason, Wall Street hates Tesla, hates Elon Musk. I do not know why Wall Street hates this guy. before, when the stock was like $150, $300, they said it's too high, it's this, it's that. But Tesla is simply the only company that is so innovative in the car industry. They basically created a section for themselves. They're not just a car company. They have solar roof, they have power wall, they have mega packs, they have so many things that they're branching into. And for some reason, Wall Street just hates Tesla so much. I don't understand why. It's unheard. It's beyond me. I don't know why they hate Tesla or Elon Musk. They never say anything good about Tesla, really.
They ended up earning a profit of $1.24 a share. No change in the production guidance from Tesla. This is all about what they're planning to do in terms of deliveries this year. And I know there are people who sit there and say, well, they haven't changed their guidance in delivery, so that's good news. There was simply no mention of this. Not a reiteration that they plan to deliver at least 500,000 vehicles. They did deliver 88,496 vehicles in Q1. By the way, that was a number that was out there since they reported deliveries at the end of March, Q1 delivery. So we were not expecting a surprise there. A few people had it at 89,000. A couple other numbers to focus on from the first quarter. Cash on hand. Remember, they had the capital raise in the quarter, $8.1 billion.
That is $8.1 billion. $8.1 billion. If you look at other companies like Ford and stuff like that, they are draining money. Unlike, look, if this is probably like a year's chart, right? Tesla before used to be right here. It used to be at $400. $400. This is an extreme growth stock. I'm extremely bullish on Tesla. I think Tesla in future will be worth a lot more than this. Even if it does go down, it's still a buying opportunity. It used to be at $400. $400. And if you look at the car market, for example, Tesla. First of all, Tesla is not only in car. They're in Powerwall, they're in Solar Bank, Mega Pack. Their future market is still really, really high. They're going after industries, utilities, cars, a roof for your house. I mean, the growth of this company to come is still high. I'm a big bull on Tesla. Big bull on Tesla. Let's hear what they have to say though.
$1 billion. Automotive gross margins 25.5%, and the profit guidance for now is on hold. A few people are also talking about the fact that the free cash flow was negative $895 million. And one last note, guys.
Why did they have to talk about free cash flow? Completely not necessary. Not necessary. We have a whole situation that is going on right now, and we have a company that has 8.1 billion with a B, billion in hand, cash, ready to be used. Meanwhile, most companies are going to the government, like Boeing and all this company. They're going to the government for bailout, and you have a company that has 8.1 billion with a B on their balance sheet. This is crazy to me. I don't know why Wall Street hates Tesla. I just don't understand it.
Has to do with the Tesla semi-truck. First deliveries, which were scheduled to begin at the end of this year, not going to happen. They're going to push that out.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. This is just we have a situation with this whole pandemic that is not a big deal at all.
Until 2021. I know that guy was hoping to see one of these bad boys out on the road driving all over the place in New Jersey, but that is not going to be the case for some time. Those deliveries pushed out to 2021. Melissa, back to you.
Phil, thank you.
That's fine. It's okay. Eventually, people are going to get a semi-truck. Everything will be fine. And, yeah, Wall Street, you need to get your act together. I know, and I'm sorry that this video has been so long, but this type of a long video is only going to be once a week. Once a week, you just have to give me a couple of minutes of your time once a week for me to change your life and show you what I'm doing to change my life. Because if you see what I'm doing to change my life, it's gonna hopefully influence you to do something different as well. Because this is a series about investing for the 99%. It's a series about investing for the 99%, and I consider myself part of the 99%. And hopefully, I can push to get up to my goal of making $100 grand a month. And let's get into Tesla's CEO again. So he basically just ranted on his Twitter. As you can see, he said he's selling his house. He said the stock price is too high. He said give America back their freedom, and you know, he just basically rants, right? But this is Elon. This is the person that he is. You either love him the way it is, or you don't. You know, this is the person that he is. He's an extremely outspoken person, and he's the person that is making a huge change in the world as a whole. And I personally see that there's nothing wrong with it. He's expressing his right as a U.S. citizen to express his opinion, and this is his opinion. There's nothing wrong with it. This is a man that has a plan that he's actually working towards colonizing Mars. Colonizing Mars. How many people do you know on a regular basis that want to colonize Mars? And he's literally going to work on getting it done. Right? So it's okay for him to express his opinion. That's why we have the Constitution, we have the First Amendment. We can express our opinion, say whatever we want because it's our opinion, and that's pretty much it. Well, that's going to be it for today. That is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for sticking around. I know this video was really long, but I hope you've gained a lot of value in the information that I'm bringing to you, because based on what's going on in all this news, we can potentially invest in knowing what's going on in the economy, what opportunities are out there, like the loans from the Fed, the PPP loan that we all could apply for, the EIDL grants, the Main Street Lending Program facility that the Fed just talked about. I will leave a link in the description for everything, the M1 Finance link, my portfolio link, the Fed chair link. And thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you very much for sticking in. Please like this video so this video can be pushed out and YouTube can really see that, you know, I'm serious about this YouTube thing and people are actually enjoying my content. So please like and subscribe for my YouTube. I will be doing an educational video on Wednesday talking about stocks, different type of stocks. I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to talk about growth stocks, penny stocks, all of those. I will be doing an educational video on that. Sorry about the long video, like I said. Please subscribe, and until next time, have a good one. Bye.